I am Thaddeus Bullard, a.k.a. Titus O'Neil. First and foremost, it is definitely an honor to be here with all the great athletes in the back and all of the fans of the sport and supporters of the sport. I'm here today to support Tim in a venture which has been very important to him in regards to giving back. Anyone that knows me knows that giving back is definitely in my DNA as a product of a person that was, as a product to a mother that was sexually assaulted at 11 years old and had me at the age of 12, labeled as a kid that will be dead or in jail by the time I was 16. If it wasn't for the investment of other people, I wouldn't be standing here today, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do or accomplish the things that I've been able to accomplish. When Tim hit me up and told me about doing something for the very first time in regards to giving a kid an opportunity to go to college, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from high school. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and the proud father of 3 children, all who are now Division I athletes. So to be able to help, not only receive help and get people to pour into me when essentially they had nothing to gain in return, and now to be able to stand on a platform and be on TV and travel the world and raise millions of dollars for various organizations, I know if it wasn't for that investment of those people, or people that had the right hearts, right minds, and in a world that we live in, especially in the United States, where we're so divided on a bunch of bullshit that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all people. Whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, you're a fucking human being, and I just want you to be a great human being. So we're gonna celebrate a young man today who is a great human being that went through the foster care system, and our friends at Friends of the Children of Tampa Bay, my good friend here, Ken Baker, they do a phenomenal work with mentorship of getting foster kids in the foster care system and staying with them all the way up throughout high school. And we're going to celebrate today. I have a big celebration for a kid that Tim has identified along with the Friends of Children Tampa Bay, and continue this generational break to give him the opportunity to go to college as well. So without further ado, Mr. Ken Baker.
Thank you, thank you. Got to put my readers on. I know we have bodybuilding, men's bodybuilding coming up, so I know I have a time crunch here. I'm going to get right to it. I'm so glad to be here on the stage today. You wouldn't be able to tell, but I actually used to compete about 15, 20 years ago. And I also had a blast helping athletes get to the stage from a coaching standpoint with my own local little bodybuilding team here in Tampa. I was also a personal trainer at Tim Gardner's gym. We're going way back. It's called Body Tech in Tampa Bay as well. He coached me for a few shows, and I learned so much. I had some maturing to do while I was working there, and Tim had to have some pretty direct conversations with me. Some tough love, you might say. He even fired me once or twice, maybe even. I don't know. But it was all stuff that I needed to hear. So we all need guidance at some point in our lives. After working at that gym, I pivoted and worked within the foster care system here in Hillsborough County, helping place kids after they had been removed from investigators with only a trash bag of their belongings, often splitting up siblings due to lack of available foster homes at all hours of the night, picturing the kids crying in the back of a car with a complete stranger as they go to an unfamiliar place to try to sleep. Being on call, my wife would sometimes wake up to find me quietly crying at 2 or 3 in the morning after a call would come in, knowing how hard it would be on the kids. But I would try my best. Then I took a position with Friends of the Children Tampa Bay when they began a decade ago. We identified kids ages 5 and 6 from the local foster care system that had significant trauma already. We're talking neglect, physical, sexual abuse, incarcerated parents, abandonment, drugs in the home, violence. And we paired up with them as long-term paid professional mentors, the motto being 12 and a half years no matter what. So we spent a minimum of 4 hours per child per week, and having stayed in touch with Tim, he would often see my posts of all these young achievers on social media, sometimes hearing about their backgrounds and the traumatic stories that led to their involvement with me. He was very generous when I would share the kids' Christmas list, and I'll never forget that first year of my Christmas workout. He showed up with a huge sack of gifts for the kids. It would have made Santa Claus proud. The smile on Tim's face, though, really said it all. We hugged and we had kind of like a bro moment then, and he said how proud he was of all the work that he had seen me do with my boys. And I think that's when maybe the spark was started a little bit extra with Tim. He knows how much these kids need a mentor and someone to believe in them. But you see, here's the hard part, because Tim lived it. You probably didn't know this. He came from a dysfunctional home environment, filled with neglect, often left unattended overnight before the age of 6, exposed to pornography and sexual situations. His parents didn't care enough to enroll him in school. He was finally removed at age 6 and entered the foster system as a confused, dejected, and bewildered young boy, to use his words. His foster parents took him in with open arms and showed him true love and genuine acceptance. He stayed there for only 2 years until he went back to his biological father, who had remarried. This period was hardly any different from before, with very little consistency. Changing schools over 10 times before reaching middle school, still suffering from neglect and demeaning abuse. Tim left home at 16 and found comfort with his football coach and family. Through it all, he was able to overcome and succeed despite of his background. How? Because people believed in him. People showed him by example what love and family is supposed to actually look like. All of this brings us to his nonprofit called Fostering Dreams of Tampa Bay. After researching programs, he discovered that many charities that people donate to have a crazy amount of operating fees, with only a small fraction actually going to the kids they serve. He wants something different. Over 80% of all donations will go directly to the youth that they sponsor, helping them, that's right, helping them reach their goals from high school and even beyond. The main goals are high school graduation and college prep, avoiding the pitfalls of juvenile justice involvement, avoiding teen pregnancy, and throwing in some fun stuff like athletic encouragement. He recently helped secure a wrestling camp spot for my youth, Donovan, that he wouldn't have been able to receive or get to due to financial reasons and also lack of transportation. We're going to cue up a video in 1 second. The mission of Fostering Dreams of Tampa Bay is so closely in line with my mentoring goals with Friends of the Children. It really is a perfect matchup. So coming up now on this video, you're going to end up meeting one of my young achievers, Donovan, and you're going to hear his story and how he became family. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Donovan, and this is my story. Growing up for me hasn't been easy. I grew up not knowing who my parents were and lost vision in one eye as a baby. Thankfully, my grandma took me in and later adopted my sister, Kaylee, and me. Grandma introduced me to Mr. Kent, my friend and mentor from Friends of the Children, when I was just 5. A year later, when I was 6, our family was riding in the car when we endured a horrific car accident. My grandma passed away that day. My aunt, who I call Titi, took us in. She was a young 20-year-old just starting her life in college. I can't imagine how tough it was on her, but she did everything to make sure we were properly taken care of. That was a snapshot of my past. Now I am entering my junior year at Pasco High. I have learned that despite my past, I can accomplish anything if I try hard enough. I have made the honor roll consistently with A's and B's, but my goal this year is straight A's. I can do it. I also discovered a passion for band and especially wrestling. I truly love the feelings I get when I even talk about wrestling. I love how they challenge me in different ways. To be first in state at the 126 weight class is in my sights. After I graduate, I want to go to college, possibly major in psychology, and one day, maybe even be a mentor for Friends of the Children. I would love to help give other kids some direction and the hope of a more promising future. With hard work and dedication, I know I can do it.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing until he texted me during the week and said, hey, I got a young man that I want to honor with a scholarship. But if there's ever a time to take a moment to acknowledge and give people their flowers for taking their platform and utilizing it for good, I would like for you guys to give this guy, Tim, a round of applause for taking his platform and using it for good. All right?
Thank you, man.
People like this is how we get the world to be a better place, guys.